What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, May 10th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. We have a 2-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So the studs on the slate, you got Luka Doncic, James Harden, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul. So I'm going to go over these guys once again. My opinion has not changed. I'll just go over it real quick. Luka Doncic, he's got the biggest upside on the slate, 70 plus fantasy point upside. He's 11,400 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel. And then James Harden, he's got 50 plus fantasy point upside. Finally flashed that 50 plus fantasy point upside, scored 55 fantasy points last game, played 40 minutes, and he's only 8,900 DraftKings salary. He's 500 more on FanDuel. And then Devin Booker and Chris Paul, these guys have 40 plus fantasy point upside. Devin Booker is 8,600 DraftKings salary, 1,000 more on FanDuel. And Chris Paul is 8,000 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. So I think it's just a coin flip between Devin Booker and Chris Paul as to what guy performs better any given night. So, I think I like Chris Paul on DraftKings for 8K. And Devin Booker's fine as well at 8,600. Devin Booker did score 52 fantasy points last game, played 34 minutes. But now I think that kind of makes me think that it's Chris Paul's night tonight. So I like Chris Paul on DraftKings at only 8K. But let's move on here to some of the lower salary players. A play that I really like here tonight is Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Tyler Hero has averaged 34.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 33.9 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.4 times value. He's 6,300 DraftKings salary, 300 less on FanDuel. So I like Tyler Hero here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, he scored 30 fantasy points last game, played 33 minutes. And the other guy that I like, he's played a couple of games now and his minutes have trended up, is Kyle Lowry from the Miami Heat playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Kyle Lowry has averaged 33.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 30.1 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.6 times value. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. Kyle Lowry scored 22 fantasy points in 30 minutes last game. So maybe he gets over 30 minutes here tonight and he can score 30 fantasy points or more in those minutes. So I like Kyle Lowry here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now moving down in salary even more here, you have Spencer Dinwiddie and Victor Oladipo. Now Victor Oladipo finally got his price tag increased here, but I think they're both still decent value plays. So Spencer Dinwiddie is 4,900 DraftKings salary, 300 less on FanDuel. He scored 22 fantasy points in 19 minutes last game. He's projected at 27.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. Although I think he's more realistically going to get around 25 fantasy points, which would be 5 times value or more. So I still like Spencer Dinwiddie here Not as much now that there are some other decent value plays on the slate, and he's just not playing a ton of minutes. Like last game, only 19 minutes. If he can get 25 plus minutes, he's got a much better chance. But Victor Oladipo scored 31 fantasy points last game, played 32 minutes. So I think he's a little more interesting than Spencer Dinwiddie. He is $5,300 DraftKings salary, but he's $400 less on FanDuel. And I think he can score 28 fantasy points or more here, get you over 5 times value. So I like Victor Oladipo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I've given you all the shooting guards. They're also eligible at the point guard position. So let's take a look at the small forward position. Stud on the slate, Jimmy Butler. He's $9,500 DraftKings salary, $1,300 more on FanDuel, and he's been on fire. He scored 61, 51, and 53 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 41, 38, and 37 minutes. So I think he can score 50 fantasy points or more here, get you 5 times value or more. Now he's $9,500 DraftKings salary, $1,300 more on FanDuel. So if I'm going to play Jimmy Butler, I think it's going to be on DraftKings. I don't know if I can pay that much for Jimmy Butler on FanDuel. But moving on here, another value play that I like, and this is a value play that I would prefer over like a Spencer Dinwiddie. He's much cheaper, played a bunch of minutes last game, and I think he's got a good chance to get over 5 times value. Take a look at Cameron Johnson from the Phoenix Suns, and he scored 22 fantasy points last game, played 29 minutes. He's projected at 21 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's $3,900 DraftKings salary, $200 more on FanDuel. So I like Cameron Johnson as a value play here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I also like Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he's kind of a wild card. You never know what you're going to get with this guy, but he is playing a ton of minutes, so you got to consider him. He's from the Dallas Mavericks, and he's $5,900 DraftKings salary, $100 less on FanDuel. He scored 42 and 26 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 38 and 41 minutes. So I just think you got to consider him because he's playing so many minutes, and he does have that rare 40 plus fantasy point upside, although I think it's more likely that he's going to score 25 to 30 fantasy points. But I do like that FanDuel price at only $5,800. So I like Dorian Finney-Smith here versus the Phoenix Suns. And another small forward that I like, I think this guy is still a little bit too cheap here, is Danny Green from the Philadelphia 76ers. He's $4,500 DraftKings salary, $100 less on FanDuel. He scored 22, 29, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 24, 33, and 24 minutes. So he's got that 25 plus fantasy point upside, certainly capable of getting you over 5 times value. So I like Danny Green as a value play here versus the Miami Heat. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. Now, he had an off game yesterday, but that was like 1 out of the last 5 or 6 games that he had a bad game and didn't hit value. So I'm not going to let that shake me off of this play. I like Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers. He's averaging 33.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 34.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 7,100 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. Tobias Harris has scored 26, 37, and 41 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 38, and 38 minutes. So I like Tobias Harris here versus the Miami Heat. Okay, moving on to the center position, stud on the slate is Joel Embiid. He's 10,000 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel. He scored 43 fantasy points in 38 minutes last game, projected at 58.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.8 times value. So I like Joel Embiid here versus the Miami Heat. Now I also like Bam Adebayo, and from the Miami Heat, he's averaging 40.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game. Projected at 41.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.8 times value as well. He's 7,200 DraftKings salary, 1,000 more on FanDuel, however. So I love that DraftKings price. He scored 35, 17, and 40 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 33, and 32 minutes. So I like Bam Adebayo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. And then I also like DeAndre Ayton, but the way I'll probably play this is Bam Adebayo on DraftKings and DeAndre Ayton on FanDuel, because DeAndre Ayton is 7,000 DraftKings salary and he's the same price on FanDuel. So Bam Adebayo is 8,200 FanDuel salary, where DeAndre Ayton only 7K. So DeAndre Ayton has averaged 35 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate, projected at 35.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. 7,000 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel. Scored 34 and 31 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 32 minutes in each of those games. So I like DeAndre Ayton, especially on FanDuel, here versus the Dallas Mavericks. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.